Hi everyone, so my name is Erik Manzano. I'm a third year urban studies major. I am this year's Fusion's treasurer for this academic year, and I'm running for the position of president for the next academic year. So as many of you know or don't know, I haven't really been a part of Fusion for a really long time. This is really my first, technically first official year in, or not official, first full year in Fusion. But let me tell you guys, the time that I've had from joining to now has been some of the best times I've had in my life so far. And I want to continue to provide these times not only for myself, but for anyone who decides to join this club. Honestly, Fusion, it's my second home. Fusion accepted me as the individual who I am, as well as the group of individuals in here. And it's also given me the opportunity to not only become a board member, but also hold the responsibilities as a board member and succeed as a board member. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like I've done a really good job as treasurer. And throughout this entire year, I've always thought about becoming president, leading a group of individuals to provide both an amazing and memorable club to the students here at UCI. And now that dream is in my reach right now. So this is why I'm running for president. There's a good amount of ideas that I have in store if I were to become president. One, I want to promote both a healthy and efficient board atmosphere because, or that allows the board to not only resolve whatever is needed for the sake of this club, but also to resolve whatever aspects we offer to our general members. Two, I want to strengthen both Alyansa relations, not only Alyansa, but also our sister organizations, Cabo, Puso, and PAS, as well as strengthen our relations with the School of Engineering. Now, I know this is a daunting task because there's just so many complications that can hinder this. But honestly, I just want to try to get something going. Once something starts going, then it'll be like the domino effect and we can hopefully have something in the end. Third, I want to maintain the atmosphere that Fusion bestows upon its general members, an atmosphere that is always friendly, always welcoming, and disregards any imperfections that you think you may have and just accepts you for you. And there's many other plans, but those are just a few. Looking back a year ago, some of you can tell I wasn't the most outgoing. I was the shy to myself, introverted kind of person, and now look at me. I'm enthusiastic, I'm outgoing. I'm not saying that I'm completely out of the shell, but I'm working towards it, and I'm working towards it. I know it's gonna be tough being treasurer. I am aware of what is to do and all the things that I have as well. But I mean, I'm up here to tell you guys why I'm fit to be president, and I can tell you right now, I'm willing and eager to take whatever, or to tackle whatever is needed, both for the future years to come. But the question though is, do you guys see me as that individual? Thank you.
All right, so we will now start Erik's individual Q&A.
So where do you think your board fell short this year, and where do you think you as president would help improve that, or maybe even exceed what you guys did this year?
So where we fell short?
Yeah, where you fell short this year.
One thing I want to say, it's in our board aspect, as a board, we had some level of communication. We would communicate to a certain level, but when it came to certain issues in the club that we wanted to resolve, someone would come up with a solution and we'd hear that solution, but no one else really stood up to it. And then once time passed, we soon found out that either an individual had a disagreement with that solution, but they just never said anything. For example, there were certain issues that I disagreed with, or solutions to an issue that I disagreed with, but rather than talking it out, I stayed passive and I didn't do anything about that. So to fix that, I just want to ensure that my board for next year, if I become president, that it's entirely okay to disagree on certain issues. It's better to hear everyone's opinions, to get all those opinions out, and in order to, in a way, like, how do you say it? Persuade why you think that way, why you think this, and why you think that. And if you do so, of course, it's going to take time, but we have a good amount of time to do. But if you can persuade someone else on what you believe in or what you are thinking, then it's all worthwhile.
Any other questions? You said on your first point, what was your first point?
I want to establish both a healthy and efficient atmosphere for my board.
I was gonna say, what kind of specific ideas did you have to go towards that goal?
I'll say that the one I said earlier, just ensure to my board that it's entirely okay to disagree and to basically fight for what you believe in. Another thing I want to do is, I feel like in order for us to be that that very efficient board, we have to become close. We have to know how each other thinks, how we work and stuff like that. So how I work towards that is try to get to know my board as much as I can, and try to get each other to know as much, or get to know each other as much as we can. Not only before the start of the new academic year, but throughout the year as well. Do I have enough time?
Let's take one more.
Okay. Let's go with Sam.
So you said that you'd be willing to encourage disagreements within your board.
Yes.
What would you do in the case that causes a rift between the board?
First, I would like to address it to the board if there is an agreement, but, no. This is entirely professionalism. You can't take personal matters into account. You have to put those aside. And no matter how hard that is for that individual, they just have to do so. And if they decide to take it personally, then I guess I would talk to them. I would have to make them for sure know that this is strict professionalism, and we're not talking about you. We're just talking about for the sake of Fusion itself.
All right, thank you, Erik.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aldrin Lupisan, and I am running for Fusion's 2016-2017 president. I can go on and on about how much I love Fusion and all the memories I've made throughout all these years, but that's for another time. Schedule a one-on-one with me. Fusion has been a part of my life since before I came to ECI. Former president of Fusion, Edgar Domingo Jr. was my high school teacher who taught me the importance of caring. I can see the lessons he taught and the values he emphasized pervading through Fusion today, through our sense of community as well as our effort to embrace and preserve Filipino culture. Our commitment to reaching out to new members and putting our general members first embodies the inclusive and transparent nature of Fusion that I would not only like to maintain, but also progress. Fusion puts effort into everything we do, a quality that I've seen and been able to appreciate from different perspectives. Dr. Seuss once said, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better." It's not. If the effort and care of Fusion members were directed to the outer community, we can help make the world a better place. But Fusion has yet to find the opportunity to do so. We can extend our reach by aiding in typhoon relief efforts for Filipino victims living in typhoon-prone areas by creating and sending bulk buy-in boxes filled with non-perishable food, toiletries, clothing, etc. So, attending to matters closer to home, I want to make something that is long-lasting and a tribute to our year by introducing a year-long build project. Looking at the time capsule that was at Fusion's 15th birthday party, people were actively engaged in leaving their mark on Fusion. They left phone numbers, letters, anything that symbolized their presence within Fusion. This new build project will incorporate general member and board member participation, uniting everyone involved so that at the end of the year, they can say with a deep sense of pride, "That was my year when we built that." By collectively working together, we can develop a greater sense of community and cooperation while working together toward a common goal, which can be applied to being a contributive citizen. As both a Fusion board member and an Alyansa board member, I have shown that I am willing to put in the time and work for the benefit of the club. Throughout my years at the UCI, I have remained an active and dedicated part of the Fusion community while assuming varying roles that encompass Fusion. In that, I can offer a diverse perspective because of the different responsibilities I've had, allowing me to make well-informed contributions to the club matters. The obligations I have embraced have grown in magnitude, and I have grown with them in response. In soil mechanics, pre-consolidation describes the situation in which soil experiences more stress to prepare it for future occurrences of stress. The responsibilities I've had have prepared me to handle the imminent commitment that comes with the job of the president. This is my chance to come back to my roots and give Fusion my all. I'll take the sleepless night and all the extra hours of planning and communicating with outside organization as a gift of myself to Fusion. Thank you.
All right, do we have questions?
Go.
All right, so just how has your time being both not only a Fusion board member, but also board member for the Alyansa community, how has that prepared you for the presidential position?
Well, from my perspective, it's allowed me to see that from all the different angles. I can make a decision both as a general member, as a board member itself, and an Alyansa member, so that it affects not only myself but also everyone around me, because everyone has their own different experiences with Alyansa itself. So it's using my experience so that I can help anyone who's coming into Fusion or any of the Alyansa org, so I can relay them to wherever they would feel more fit. Yeah, so.
Any other questions?
Given that any hypothetical situation where one of your board members is either underperforming or not living up to responsibilities, how would you handle that situation?
Well, of course, I would make sure that they were okay. I think that's the one thing that a lot of us forget, is that we're all students and we all go through different difficulties throughout our college career, because it is a tough time to be away from home, to have to learn to live by ourselves. And in that, like, all the responsibilities can pile up, and sometimes we just can't handle it. And being understanding of that situation is something that a president needs to understand and be able to reach out and try to see what they can offer to help them out. Besides, I don't think that it's only the president's role to help out. I think that as a board, we should be able to talk to the person who is feeling like they are not able to perform well, or everybody else is seeing that. So we as a unit, we'll try to do our best to help one another, whether it be just helping that person plan this extra meeting because they were able to study for a midterm, or they had to go home for some random reason, and it's just being understanding of that, really. And trying to help one another, because that's all we're here for as a community.
All right, thank you, Aldrin. First question?
So the board members have certain responsibilities in the constitution of Fusion, but what I want to know is how you push your fellow board members to go beyond what's set on paper and become better as people, I guess. Do you get the question?
Can you rephrase it a little?
So each board member in Fusion has a certain set of responsibilities outlined in our constitution. What I want to know is, how will you push these other board members to go beyond that of what's written on paper? Or if you plan to do so?
I'll go first. Go. So to get them to basically go the extra distance, I'll say, basically provide an example. For me, as treasurer for this year, I went more than what I should have done, honestly, because I'm passionate in what I did and what I do as treasurer, and I want to see, I want to establish the well-being of this club and go beyond that. So just set the example and ask them, like, what do you really want to do for this club? Do you really just want to do this set of guidelines and done, or do you want to make this a better club?
Going off of what Eric said, of course it's being an example, but I think my biggest thing is coming from, like, we'll use basketball as a thing, as an example. In a team, there's no way that one person can dominate and like lead everyone, you know. Like, yes, there's a team captain, but it still requires a whole team to win games, and it's just that chemistry that needs to be built from the beginning, and then trying to communicate. My thing was, I remember when I was on board, was that over the summer we didn't talk at all, nothing, until like until the coming month before school started. What I want to do is start trying to do actual things to speak with the board, starting in the beginning of summer, like right off the bat after transfusion. We are going to start with trying to build something that or like trying to mold our vision for the club for the incoming year, and that's what I think is the main thing, is like always trying to see that vision and having that one goal. So, yeah. Danny.
All right, so this is sort of a wish fulfillment question. So
Okay.
a couple days ago, there was the 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
For what it was, but it's the 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
We should go big. So, 15th anniversary. What are we doing next year? Are we going to do anything?
Well, of course, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I did run again for board, was I did want to make Fusion's 15th year a great year, because not many of us can experience that 5th year, or like a 5-digit, because we all only stayed in college 4 years. So it's very rare for any one of us to actually experience that, you know. So it's like trying to make that memorable not only for alumni, but also for general members. You know, I would want to have something in either outside of UCI, because I want to make it big. And of course that requires a lot of fundraising and stuff, but that's what I want to try and get my board to do, is that common goal to make this year about the general members and the alumni, you know, like it won't be about us, but as a whole, and all the memories we've made through these years, so.
Going off of what Aldrin said, like, it's Fusion's 15th year, and that was another thing that pushed me to go for president. And just like exactly like he said, I really want to do something very big for this club. I haven't thought too extensively of it, but I do want to make this like a weekly celebration. Have 1 week within the next school year to just celebrate all the different aspects of Fusion, whether we go from the beginning and go chronological order to the very end to what we are now, to just something else. And of course, we're gonna need funding for it, which is why I'm like trying to do that right now. I set a goal for this or for the end of this year, hopefully to end with $800 in that account. So if I do that, then we can use some of that for the celebration for next year. Let's go with Eduardo.
So you guys were under the board under different presidents, Erik for Joanna and Aldrin for Andrew. What would you do different from seeing them run Fusion? What would you do different to improve on it?
Well, for me, being under Joanna for this year, she did set up the board as like pretty much like family, to be close with one another, so that we can be as efficient as we can. And I do like that. But honestly, I really can't think of anything right now because for the last 2 years, it's a different president. And then if one of us were to become different, we have our own different like views and like how we run things. So I can't think of anything right now.
Can I like sort of answer your question, but like use both? Can I use both? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with Joe. What I like this year was I really like the climate of Fusion. It is very homey. It runs smoothly. There's very little hiccups that I've seen as a general member perspective and also as Alyansa perspective. And another thing I liked about Joe and Andrew together was that they always came out to Alyansa meetings. Like they always showed face to outside organizations, which I do intend to continue because as Alyansa, I do want to continue my connections with not only Fusion, but the Cross, the other organizations, and other organizations that I've met through this year. So, yeah.
How would you make sure the dynamic between friendship and business is level, is balanced between your board members?
Yeah, I get you. Well, going off of that, I think the biggest issues come up when people start blurring that line, when friendships and business coincide and people's feelings get in the way, sort of thing. And it's just establishing that fine line by telling people that we are here for the general members, like making sure that they understand that this is not for anyone's personal gain. This is for Fusion's gain, as a club for it to continue to grow. Because we want it to progress. We don't want it to just stay where it's at. We always want change. Although it may be scary at the time, we do want to progress as a whole. So it's like trying to drill that into the board members that we are friends, but we are also here to do our job for the general members and the outer community.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what Aldrin said. We're here for not only the general members, but just for the club Fusion. So in order for us to resolve certain issues, we have to establish that fine line between both professionalism and friendship. So you have to engrave it in them. You have to keep telling them that this is strictly for the sake of Fusion and our general members. It's not a personal attack on you, it's just for Fusion.
Sam?
Okay. All right, in your opinion, why should the other candidate not be president?
You go
I was
first.
waiting for that one to come up, but okay.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I really don't know if it's changed this year, but Aldrin does have a tendency to leave things last minute or just to procrastinate. He likes that feeling or the urge you get in procrastination. And this was one thing that he clearly stated last year when he ran for president. And this was something I did not agree with. To me, I feel like you have to be on top of things, you have to be updated and be basically ahead of things. Because you never know if something unexpected is going to come in and totally mess up the entire picture you have planned out. And if you procrastinated on something, then adding that additional thing will just put a bigger or more stressful toll on you. So there's that, and I can't think of anything else besides that.
I think my biggest thing is growing from that. I like how Erik mentioned that it was a worry of me last year, but this year I've grown a lot. And one of the main things that I gained was getting into research, and research has given me a lot of opportunities in a lot of my connections. and in Alyansa also. I think that right now, Erik lacks a lot of connections between outside organizations besides just Alyansa. I have a lot of contact with the SOAR Center. I have contacts at the Cross Cultural Center. I have contacts at the Global Sustainability Resource Center. And those are possible collaborations that I can bring to the club because of research that has led me to not only learn how to do time management and stuff, but also planning ahead. That's a big thing because research, there's always a deadline. Out of nowhere, the main guy will be like, oh, this abstract is due, turn it in. And you were like, but you gave us 1 day to notify us, but you still got to do it. But in that, I did learn a lot of things this year. So that's what I think, or sorry, to answer your question, I do think that just Erik lacks that outside connections.
One more question? I don't know.
Go for it. Yeah, you were first earlier. But.
So how would you assert your power over your board members? Given a situation where you're low on time, how would you approach it?
I'm sorry, can you ask or restate the question?
How would you assert your power over your board members? So given a situation where so if one of them aren't doing what they're supposed to do, or if a deadline's coming, it needs to be done by then, how would you approach that?
It's funny you mentioned this, but again, like I said, with research, we do have members in my team that lacks that. But what we try to do as a team collectively is try to boost that person up so that we can offer ourselves to see what we can do to help them. Because it's yeah, it's their responsibility, but as a whole, it's our responsibility to make sure things get done for Fusion or for my research team. Those deadlines are always hard and you don't want to miss those. So it's just trying to work together as a group. It's not and I know that as a president, you have to be the overarching power in saying, we need to do this and that's what needs to be done. And I do agree with that. But I also think that it should come as a support from not only the president, but also the other board members.
Yeah, going off from Aldrin, there are certain deadlines that each of us have to meet. And if one of us is struggling, then there's the entire rest of the board to help that individual out. We really don't know. It could be either they have any personal struggles that they're trying to get with, they're stressed from academics, but everyone is like that. So, and to some extent we understand that. So in order for us to get to that deadline, then I would say either start with talking with the person, see what's wrong, why they can't meet it, and then after that work towards, as a collaborative thing, work towards getting it by that deadline.